happy people. So today we are going to try to make an alkaline dressing. We're going to see if we can actually do this today. So I got here a pot and a skillet, and we're going to get started here. We're just going to go right into it here. Y'all already seen the intro. In this pot right here, I do have some homemade vegetable broth. And in this bowl here, I have some trumpet mushrooms. They were the medium-sized one. It was only about 3 of them. I just okay, that's not hot. I pretty much just shredded them with my fingers there, kind of smaller bits. But we're going to put these in our veggie broth. My veggie broth is just on low. It's just warming. It is not boiling. And we're going to throw those in there because we just want them to soften up, because we're going to use them as our chicken here. And we're going to put 1 tablespoon of alkaline not so garlic powder. Not that way. Just to intensify the flavor there, so the mushrooms soak up some of that flavor as they soften up a little bit. And I'm just going to turn the heat all the way off now because I don't need any more heat. I just want them to soften up. My vegetable broth was cold, so I had to warm it up. Now, while that's going, we're going to turn on our heat here. We're going to add a little bit of grapeseed oil. Let that come to heat up there. While that's heating, go ahead and tell you how we're going to do this. So I do not have cornbread already made. I didn't make a video on cornbread or nothing like that. I tried to make cornbread by itself. I tried many different ways. I know I've used 10 pounds of flour, and literally I mean 10 pounds of flour all together, trying to make it all different ways. I tried to make it with just the flours, the seasoning, and some water. That did not work out. I tried it with different variations of flour and different variations of cooking temperatures, different variations of water. Nothing. Then I tried it with sparkling water, thinking that would give me some kind of, because it was just too dense. That's the problem. It's just dense is down, like way too dense. Sparkling water, tried it several ways. Same thing, changing the flour amounts, the temperatures, how long I cooked it, and sparkling water. Still no luck. So then I just tried it with applesauce as what I was going to use, and the applesauce did work, and I noticed that even though it was dense, the applesauce did kind of give me a almost cornbread like texture. So I decided, instead of just making the cornbread and then you gotta crush it up and all that stuff and then put all the stuff in there, we're just gonna mix it all together, baby. Alright, so I think my oil should be pretty heated here. So we're gonna go ahead. I have in this container here green bell pepper, yellow or sweet onion. This is red bell pepper. And on this side right here is some fennel bulb. I used probably about 1/2 cup of fennel bulb. Be careful with fennel bulb. Be careful. It is a very strong vegetable, and it will take over whatever dish you have. So be careful with how much you put in there. If you've never tried fennel bulb before, I suggest you cut off a little piece and taste it. Boil a little piece and taste it and just see how strong it is. It is a very strong vegetable, and you don't want it to take over. It also takes a little longer to cook. It is a celery replacement in the alkaline world, but it takes longer to cook than celery. So usually I put it in a pot first, and it's the first thing that I saute down before I start sauteing everything else. But today we're just going to throw it all in together. But little tip on that, always try to cook your fennel bulb first, and it's very strong. Also, I would have used the stalks that comes on the bulb this time. That would have been great for aesthetics, for is it looking like celery, but I already used the stalks and all I had was the bulb, so I just cut up the bulb. I'm not going to go and buy another one for just the stalk and then my bulb go bad. case I didn't say, that was one of each vegetable here. One red bell pepper, one green, and one onion. And only a fourth of a cup of the fennel bulb. And we're just going to saute these down till they get nice and soft here. Alright, so my onions and bell peppers and fennel, my alkaline trinity. That's pretty much what we're going to call this, alkaline trinity, basically. Onions, bell peppers, and fennel bulb or fennel stalk. They are sauteed down a little bit there, so now we're going to add, this is a 1 cup of baby bella mushrooms chopped up there. And I'm going to go ahead and add my seasonings to my vegetables. I have 1 tablespoon of onion powder. This is 1 tablespoon of not so garlic. I think here in the beginning here, and I'm just saying this because I can't go back and rewind right now. I said that this was, I put not so garlic in there, but I am wrong. I actually put in here the Cluck Cluck chick bouillon. And let me just run the ingredients up and down this screen, up this screen right quick, so you guys will know. So if I do say the wrong thing, follow what's on the screen. Alright, so back to this. 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of not so garlic powder. This is 1 teaspoon of dried cilantro, 1 tablespoon of rub sage, half of a teaspoon of ginger, and half of a teaspoon of, no, 1 whole teaspoon of sea salt, and I have 1 whole tablespoon of savory. Yeah, all that. And we're just gonna mix all this together, continue to let our vegetables cook down, let our mushrooms get soft in here. I'm forever picking the wrong size pan, I know that. Alright, so while that is doing that, we're going to go ahead and take our mushrooms out of the broth here. Alright, and while our vegetables are continuing there, we are going to go ahead and start whipping together our flour mixture. In this bowl, I have a half a cup of rye flour and a half a cup of kamut flour. Usually this is my substitute for cornmeal, half and half of kamut and rye flour. My kamut flour this time is a little thinner than I like. The one I bought is a little more thinner. The last couple of bags I've had have been more of a coarse grind, which is much better, but we're going to work with what we got today. So, I also have 1 cup of chickpea flour here. I'm going to add that in there. Just mix that up together. Alright, so our veggies are nice and soft here. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off. Alright, so now to our flour mixture here we are going to add, this is about a cup of my alkaline mushroom This is a cup of alkaline mushroom soup. You can check out the video that I made to show how to make this after this video. I'll actually put it probably like in card links or whatever, so it'll be pop up on the screen. But we're going to add that to our flour. We got 1 cup of applesauce. You can do apple puree, whatever you got there. It doesn't matter. This is pretty much pureed up apples. Alright. And I'm going to do about 1/3 of a cup of our veggie broth here. Let's see if I can get this. Ooh, don't spill on me. I just add a little veggie broth at a time here because we don't want this to be too wet. We're going to stir this all together. Hope y'all can see that. Make sure you get some flour on the table there. You ain't doing it right if you don't. Alright, now I'm going to add a little more veggie broth at a time so I get just a nice thick batter here. I don't want it to be too runny. Okay, so right now that's good enough. We don't want it to be too runny because we still have to add our vegetables here, and we want the vegetables to soak up a little of the liquid. Again, not too runny. Oh, it's starting to smell like dressing already. Now, this is 3 stalks of green onions I just chopped up there. We're going to use those. And now we have to add our mock chicken here. And I need to cook this up a little bit. A lot of dishes, Alright, so drop that on our cutting board here. Just going to chop this up just roughly, but because these mushrooms don't like, when you bite into them, you kind of got, if you don't cut them up, it's kind of a hard bite. So nice little chop, just so people won't have to tear them apart with their teeth. Alright. I'm going to add that. See how that looks? Now we can go back to adding a little bit more water. So we're up to 2/3 of a cup of water. And we're going to go with another 1/3 of a cup. So we're up to a cup. Well, veggie broth. I said water. Alright, now it looks good enough for me. See the consistency there? So now, let me go get my pan right quick. My oven is already preheated to 400, so I'm going to get my pan with some grapeseed oil in it. I'll be right back. Clean up some of these dishes. Oh my God. All these dishes. Okay, so I got my pan here. I got my trusty dusty old school here. I have greased it with some grapeseed oil, so now we're just going to add our dressing to the pan. Alright, so we got our dressing in the pan here, so now we're going to put it in our oven at 400 degrees, and we're going to cook this minimum 1 hour. For these flours, because they are different flours, they're not self-rising, things like that, they take longer to cook. So minimum of 1 hour. I'm going to set my timer for an hour and then I'll check from there. But sometimes it's like an hour 15, maybe an hour 20. But at minimum 1 hour for this. I'll be back in an hour. Alright, I am back. It has been an hour and 15 minutes. And as you can see, look at that. That looks pretty good to me. Alright, so an hour and 15 minutes, and then I let it set on this cutting board here for about 10 minutes here. So now we got to check it out. Let's see what it's like. I'm only going to do a little bit here because it is quite early. Look at that. So that's dressing. It is not too mushy. It is not too dry. It's not too wet. It's moist. Alright, so now let's give this a nice little taste here. Okay, this is dressing. Oh yeah. Sorry y'all. This is good. Really good. This is good. This is good. Alright, so y'all gotta try this out. This is really good. This is dressing. This reminds me of dressing from back in the day, my grandma, stuff like that. Reminds me of just dressing. And I love dressing. I miss it so much. So now I have my own dressing. Oh my gosh, I have my own dressing, y'all. I'm finna try this. I can't wait till this evening. Alright, so now you've seen how to make alkaline dressing. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. If you're not a member of the Stay Happy crew, I don't know why. Maybe this is your first video ever seen. But go ahead and subscribe so you can see all the dishes that I've made beforehand and see all the things that I used to substitute in the alkaline world and see the dishes that I'm going to make. Hit the notification bell so you'll be the first one to see the next video when it drops. Share this with all your friends so then they can also too become alkaline and see how very easy it is, and all y'all can get together for a potluck. This is really good. All I need now is some gravy and a little bit of cranberry sauce, but since we don't use cranberries, I'm going to come up with some kind of solution for that. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see what I use to make a substitute for cranberry sauce, because this is awesome. So I'm going to pretty much go to work and think about how I can substitute the cranberry sauce so when I get home I can make some. Like I say, use the ingredients that are on the screen here. I will run them up again. I know I ran them the first time, but I will run them up again. This is very good. I just cannot get over. Yeah, okay, so the reason why this is so good to me because, like I said beforehand, I make cornbread after cornbread after cornbread that just did not work for me. My whole point of making cornbread is to make dressing. But totally skip the whole making cornbread and then having to cook it again. Just put it all together. Who freaking knew? Alright, so that is it for me. On to the next video, y'all. Stay happy. A little bit more ain't gonna hurt this morning. A little bit more.
Stress.